So you're looking into electric vehicles, maybe? I mean, they're everywhere now, and maybe you're thinking about making that switch.
It's definitely a hot topic.
Yeah, but then you start seeing these letters, BEV, PHEV, HEV. It feels like learning a whole new alphabet soup.
Yeah, it can seem that way at first.
So today, we want to cut through all that jargon. This is basically your quick guide to understanding what really makes these different types of electric vehicles tick.
Exactly. We're aiming to give you a clear, concise rundown.
Right. Our mission, let's call it, is just to map out the core differences, where each type really works best, especially thinking about city driving and, how charging actually works for them.
We should touch on incentives too, right? Plus the environmental side, electric-only range, maybe the learning curve between types.
Absolutely. And maintenance, definitely maintenance. And just the big questions you should probably ask yourself if you're actually thinking about buying one.
Okay, let's dive right in then. The fundamental difference, it really boils down to how they use electricity alongside, or sometimes, instead of gasoline.
Okay.
So battery electric vehicles, BEVs.
Hmm.
These are the ones that are purely electric. They run only on battery power. Think Tesla, Rivian.
Oh.
Those are classic BEVs.
Got it. All battery, nothing else.
Yeah.
So BEVs are straightforward enough. What about PHEVs then? That P must mean something.
Right. Plug-in hybrid electric vehicles,
Yeah.
PHEVs, they cleverly combine a battery, which gives you some electric-only driving range, with a standard gasoline engine.
Ah,
And the key is that plug-in part. You can actually charge the battery by plugging it into the wall or a charger, just like you would with a BEV.
okay. So they've got that electric side you can top up from an outlet. That makes sense. Which brings us to the last one, HEVs. What's their deal?
HEVs are hybrid electric vehicles. Now,
Yeah.
they also have both a gasoline engine and an electric motor, but, and this is the main difference from PHEVs, their battery is mainly charged up by regenerative braking.
When you slow down.
Exactly. That and also by the gasoline engine itself. You cannot plug an HEV into a charging station. There's no plug.
Okay, let me see if I've got this. BEV. Only electric, you plug it in. PHEV dot electric and gas, and you plug it in. HEV dot gas engine helped by an electric motor, but no plug.
You nailed it. That's the clear distinction.
Right. So thinking about driving, say, mostly in the city, lots of stop-start traffic, shorter trips, which one usually comes out on top?
Generally speaking, BEVs and PHEVs, assuming the PHEV has a decent electric range, they're often the best bets for city driving.
Why is that?
Well, being able to run just on electricity is perfect for that kind of driving, Quiet, smooth, and zero tailpipe emissions right there in the city. And honestly, for a lot of people living in cities, a PHEV's electric range might actually cover almost all their daily driving.
That's interesting. So when you say electric range for a PHEV, what are we talking about? Like, how far can you actually go just on the battery?
Yeah. It really varies quite a bit depending on the specific model. But lots of current PHEVs offer somewhere in the ballpark of, say, 20 to maybe 50 miles on just electric power.
Okay, 20 to 50 miles. For many people, that is enough for the daily commute, running errands.
Exactly. Covers a lot of typical daily use cases.
Now, about plugging in, you mentioned PHEVs have a plug. Can you just pull up to any public charging station with, like, any hybrid? Or just PHEVs?
Good question. No, only PHEVs are actually designed to use those public or home charging stations to refill their battery. Standard HEVs. They just rely on their own internal systems, the engine and the braking, to charge that smaller battery.
Right, okay. That's a key difference. Let's talk environment for a sec. Are they all equally green?
Well, their environmental impact does differ. BEVs, because they don't burn any gasoline while driving, have zero tailpipe emissions. So they're the cleanest in operation.
Makes sense.
PHEVs, when you're driving them mostly on their electric charge, they offer much lower emissions than a standard gasoline car. And HEVs also cut down emissions compared to gas-only cars because that electric motor helps the engine work more efficiently.
So better and best in terms of tailpipe emissions, at least.
Kind of, yeah. Doing operation. That's a fair way to put it.
What about those government incentives? You hear about tax credits and things. Do all these types qualify?
It's a bit tricky because it really depends on where you live and the specific rules at that moment. But generally, BEVs and PHEVs, especially those with larger batteries, are the ones most likely to qualify for the bigger government incentives.
So you need to check your local regulations, basically.
Definitely. Always check the latest rules for your specific state or country.
Okay. Let's imagine someone's been driving a regular hybrid, an HEV, for a few years. They're used to that system. Is it a massive leap to go to a full battery electric vehicle, a BEV? Like, is there a big learning curve?
I wouldn't say massive, but there is an adjustment period. It's mainly about getting used to different habits, specifically around charging and, understanding your car's range.
Range anxiety.
Yeah, that's the term. That initial worry about, will I run out of juice? It's pretty common for first-time BEV drivers.
Mm.
But honestly, with a little bit of planning and the fact that charging infrastructure is growing all the time, most people adapt really quickly.
Okay, so manageable. And what about upkeep, maintenance costs? Are they wildly different across the three?
They can be. BEVs generally have fewer moving parts than cars with gasoline engines,
Mm-hmm.
no oil changes, fewer fluids, simpler powertrain, so potentially less maintenance over time.
Okay.
PHEVs and HEVs, well, they have both the electric components and a gasoline engine, plus the transmission and exhaust systems. So you've got maintenance related to both sides of that equation.
Right, kind of the complexity of both worlds there.
In a way, yes.
So if someone's listening now, trying to figure out, okay, which one is right for me, what are the absolute key things they need to think about?
It really goes down to your personal situation. Think about, how far do you typically drive each day? Do you have easy access to charging, maybe at home or where you work? What's your budget look like, upfront and maybe long-term? And how important is having that longer electric-only range versus, say, the flexibility of having gas as a backup?
So driving habits, charging access, budget, and range needs seem to be the big ones.
Exactly. Answering those honestly will really point you towards the best type of EV for your specific lifestyle.
So really, to wrap it up, the main takeaway here is that just understanding these fundamental differences, BEV, PHEV, HEV, it empowers you, right? It lets you make a much more informed decision that actually fits how you live and drive.
Couldn't agree more. It's all about matching the tech to your needs.
Which leads to maybe a final thought for you listening.
Yeah, think about your own daily driving. Seriously. Which of these technologies seems like it would slot most easily into your routine? And then maybe think a step further, what are the longer-term implications of that choice? For your wallet, sure, but also for your convenience and, for the environment around us. Something to mull over as you see more of these cars hitting the roads.